one and only. He's finally here. I don't know what is wrong with you parkour people, because Toby did the same thing. Giles did the same thing. Well, actually, Giles and Toby, they were here in a second. Toby was sitting on the toilet when he's sending me pictures. I'm coming. Giles was running down the stairs, and he came exactly on point. Jason is Jason Paul. So, what do you expect?
Oh man, I did a podcast the other day with Lewis, and I told him I'm trying to be better at being on time, but for some reason I suck. I'm sorry.
But I love you.
I love you too. I love how every other podcast or anything there's like a little bit of a pre-time to like warm up.
Oh, did I return?
I hear you.
Sorry. Yeah, my internet died. For a second here.
You're back.
How you doing, Jason?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I worked out this morning. I didn't want to go, but I made myself go, and I just jumped out of the shower. And I haven't checked the mirror yet, so I'm looking into the camera to see what I actually look like, and it's quite messy, which is fine. I don't care. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm so good. It's been a hectic year for a filmmaker. When the COVID hit, I lost so much jobs, and then I got new jobs and weird jobs and live streaming. I've never done live streaming before. I just did the whole Dogalina thing. Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm good. I'm good. How has your year been with the entire COVID and the situation you guys are in?
It's been good. It's been super slow, but it's been nice. Like, I've been wanting to take a little bit of a break, and then we had a baby just before COVID hit. So it was kind of perfect timing for us to take some time off. As an athlete, I always have some money saved up because you can always injure yourself and then you won't be able to work for like half a year. So I've always tried to have some money on the side in case something bad happens, and it was not super stressful. Of course, we were worried in the beginning that there wouldn't be much work, but there's still been enough work coming in for me to be somewhat busy, and then I keep myself busy doing stuff as well. So it's been really fun. I feel a little bit bad because I've been really enjoying the whole lockdown. It's been really good for me and for family life and everything. I understand that people out there who are not as fortunate, they don't have work, they would love to be out and doing stuff. I'm really happy just being boring and at home and spending time with the family and doing some work that comes in.
So if we back a couple of years ago, you started a brand that's called Team FARANG, right?
Correct.
With Annan, and who is in the company right now? Is it you and Annan, or how many people are you?
Oh God, who's owning the company? Anand, Sean, and I were the ones who originally started it. We also have ownership in the company. And then in the very beginning, we had some people also invest some money that you wouldn't know. So Anand's manager, Far, she invested some money. One of our old friends, Reese from Australia, parkour guy, he invested some money. And also Pasha has some shares in the company as well.
Cool.
I think that's it. So, am I missing anybody? Yeah, I think that's everybody. Yeah.
And then, so what is the name of the, like, FARANG? What does it stand for?
FARANG is kind of, we didn't plan to call our brand FARANG. Like, we were actually looking for different names because FARANG didn't feel like a good name for a brand because it's actually an insult in Thai. It's kind of a bad word to call a foreigner. It's not like a nice word to call anybody. And we kind of started as a joke.
Did someone say that to you? Like, FARANG, FARANG.
Yeah. You walk by and you'll be like, oh, fucking FARANG, like fucking tourists. But in like, it's a bad word, but kind of in a loving way. Like, the Thai people are not very aggressive of a culture, so it's kind of a bad word, but it's not like a really bad swear word you would call someone when you're really angry. Then you would go to like some stronger words, which I don't know in Thai. But it all started because Anand has an apartment in Bangkok, and we just started visiting him out there. How the parkour community works, you would always travel to meet other people, see other countries, see the spots in those countries. It's a big part of the parkour culture, as you know. And Anand was fortunate enough to have an apartment because he made some money working as a pop star when he was in his teens. So he was the only one of us who had an apartment, which happened to be in Bangkok, which we were very excited to travel to because the weather was nice and we could live out there quite cheaply. So every year, a bunch of parkour people from around the world would visit Anand and stay at his place. And as a joke, we called this collection of people Team FARANG because we were all foreigners, and Farang is the word for foreigner. And eventually, that because we started making videos together, that grew into a brand, and we kind of got stuck with the name Farang.
So that's how you started. And
Mm-hmm.
what like were you focused to build a clothing brand, or what was like, oh, you just want to be a team, or what was like the purpose of it?
The original idea was really to make parkour films. That's really what we wanted to do. What was kind of the uniting factor for all of us? We were really into cameras, we were really into traveling and parkour, and we kind of wanted to capture that aspect of our sport because we really enjoyed doing it. We really enjoyed making videos, and we were kind of looking at all these other sports. We were looking at skateboarding, wakeboarding, snowboarding, and they seem to have this business model where they would make one big movie a year. And then they would have, if you would watch the movie, they would have all these sponsor logos at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
So our original goal was let's just make really, really sick parkour videos and we'll put in all the money to make them. And hopefully we can get sponsors. And later on, we kind of realized that it's going to be really hard for us to get sponsors because there's no parkour brands yet. Like a lot of the snowboarding videos, they would have sponsors, but they would be snowboarding brands, snowboarding companies that made like clothing for snowboarding, snowboards, or skateboard brands that made shoes and skateboards and clothing. So we're like, fuck, that doesn't even exist yet in our sport. So how are we going to get these sponsors? And we were like, maybe we have to actually become those brands. And we were also really excited about clothing. So we decided, all right, let's start with that. Started making a t-shirt and then made some money back and then started making some more clothing and put in some more money and kind of grew it from there. Yeah. That
Yeah,
was
and
the
you were
idea.
kind of fortunate to start the company. Like, there's two different sides there, but you were kind of fortunate to start a clothing company in Thailand. Like, you have material and you have like the cheap prices over there. That's where you want to buy the clothing, Thailand or India or So
Yeah, it definitely. I think we were just leaning into what was around. We did meet. It was not even clothing. What was not necessarily our idea. It kind of really started because Anand and Sean were out clubbing, and they met this woman who was in the clubbing business. I think she owned like part of the club or something. I don't even remember. But they met this businesswoman, and she said, "Oh, you guys should make a clothing brand, and I can set you up. I can set you up with a factory in Mexico." She wanted to set us up with a factory, so we did all this design work. We got everything set up, but in the end, she got busy doing other things, and she just left us with this whole idea of making a clothing brand, and we were like, "Fuck." She wanted to do all the business side for us, and we were meant to be the creative people, and she just left, and we're like, well, we still think it's a good idea. So we then just decided to try it out in Bangkok, and it just kind of happened. I think if clothing wouldn't have worked, we would have tried something else. um yeah, I think there's always so many opportunities around. If you just try them, then some will work, some won't, and you'll kind of find your way. That's how it worked for us, at least.
yeah, I mean, I've been following you guys since the beginning. For everybody here is listening, me and Jason, we met at Parkour World Championship in London 2010, when
2009,
Jason
9 or 10.
2009. I don't know,
2009, yeah.
when Jason just rolled around like in Swedish we call it rullebör. It's like, it's just like a wheel. He was just rolling around, and he come in third place. and I did all these flips, and I sacrificed my life for what? Like, and from there we become good friends. And you were actually in Sweden, except for the challenges. We made our well, like what we did a video. It's called Dogelina, one of the funniest videos we ever done. We're like, well, I can't remember who came up with the idea. Was it Sirken? Marcus? No.
Was this? We had this in joke. The way I remember it is, we met. I came to Sweden because you invited me to the Out of Motion, the biggest
Yeah.
contest, and we kind of became better friends there. And then we got booked at it on a job together in Barcelona, which was this
Yeah.
live performance for SEAT. So we flew over to Barcelona and we spent a week together, doing these live shows where we just jumping around from containers, wearing these super fancy outfits, promoting SEAT cars. And at that time, Avatar came out, the Avatar movie.
Oh, yeah.
And in Avatar, they had these floating. I think it was you who was like, "Ooh, Dogelina." That's kind of what they called it. So we came up with another bullshit. That's kind of how Team FARANG started as well. We just came up with a joke name. Like, we came up with Team Dogelina, and then we made a video with it, and it caught on. And we made a Team Dogelina video too, where we dressed up as gangsters. Yeah. Back then we thought, all right, the more baggy we dress, the more gangster your movement looks. So we decided to make a very gangster video, and we actually rapped in the video. That was
we did.
That was amazing. It was such a good time. It was such a fun time shooting that.
I don't know who had the idea and what we thought about it, but like we just did it.
And I remember you guys were shooting like your big video at that time, and you were like, all right, Jason, we can do this gangster video, but we're only going to do like easy stuff. We're not going to go crazy because we want to save all our big tricks for the big video.
Yeah.
And then you guys got so excited and into it that you did
Yeah, I do remember.
just crazy shit.
Yeah, I remember. Like, we went full in with the.
That's your dad's hot tub.
Like, Jason, do double over there. It was such a funny time. It was a good time.
And then you remember how we got the police? You have to show the police at the end. You actually get arrested.
Like, we went to the police. And I was like, hey, can you arrest this guy? And I have to make a video for it. And it's like, okay. Like,
and we told him, like, he was like, you can't see my face. That's what the police officer says. He was like, you can't see my face, but I'll like push you into the car and I'll beat you up a little bit. And we're like, okay. And they totally did it.
Like, like, random guy says to you, can you please push this guy into the wall? And I don't know, crazy.
I think police in Sweden must be. I think you are really good at that. At least from my impression, just getting people to do shit. Because we had this crazy idea with getting the police involved, and you called them, and they were like, "Yeah, maybe." And we went to the police station. They were like, "We'll see if there's a free car who can do it." And it's Helsingborg, so it's not a crime city. So of course they had a police car who had nothing to do. And yeah. Well, he was happy to be in that video. We told him, we had to tell them as well. The story of the video is that it's not good to be a gangster. That's why we get arrested in the end. And they were like, okay, that's a good story. Yes, we'll shoot it with you. You did all the negotiating. You made it look like we're telling this deep story about how bad it is to do crime.
That's I think it's been for me the typical thing I learned from my father. He said, you always have a no. The only thing you can get is a yes. So that's been like my go-to negotiating thing. Like, well, I already got a no, so the only thing I can get is a yes. So let's call, like, for now, did you see the poster thing I did? Like the arena with all the lights and system and everything? No?
You do. I see you've been doing a bunch of poster stuff, like super beautifully designed motivational posters. Some in Swedish, I think, too, so I can't understand them.
Yeah, so we're gonna do something in English. But we like I want to do a promotion video. So I called the Helsingborg Arena and I say, you guys are in lockdown. So I want to borrow the entire arena for myself. And it's like, okay. Yeah, but like it's empty anyway. So and you can get some promotion material. And then I called the sound guy with all that we always use for the Arab channel. Say, well, you
Mhm.
guys not doing anything, so I can borrow it like everything you got. It's like, okay. So I got everything. I went to Halmstad, got everything, and then all the personal, the people was working at the arena. They didn't have anything to do, and the manager of the arena, he told me like, you can't shut the fire alarm off because that's gonna cost blah blah blah. And they just insisted like we shut down the fire alarm so you could do so much smoke. And I said, yeah, let's take down all the screens and then put the light system and more smoke and everything. And in the end, like I actually made similar effects and everything with screen, videos, and everything as we did at the Arab Challenge, but it was only for posters. So I had a poster in the middle, and I had 6 people running around for free doing shit for that. I just like, yeah, let's do this. You can do that. You can do this. You can do that. That was so funny.
But I think that's so magical about you. You're so excited that it just carries people to do it with you. Like they're like, oh, okay, let's go. It's fun to do this shit with you. So I think that's like such a good trait of you that you're really excited and you're really good at showing your excitement. And that works so well. Like that just gets people to be like, oh, let's go. Okay, Philip wants to do
Let's
it. We
run.
need more smoke. Like it makes you happy to do someone a favor if they really get excited. Like if you do someone a favor and they're like, yeah, thank you. Like Marcus, our good friend, your longer friend than mine. Like he's exactly the opposite, which is so funny because he's like the least excited.
Yeah.
You could be like, hey Marcus, we're gonna rent the whole arena and it's gonna be smoke, and he'll be super excited, but he's not gonna show it. He'll
You gotta
just be
do
like,
this.
yeah,
Okay.
he'll just be like, cool, bro. Yeah, I guess. Let's go. And then on the other side, you're like, it's gonna be amazing. So I think with your energy, it's so fun to do you a favor, do something with you because you really show how grateful you are. So sometimes when I feel like, okay, I have to be a little bit like Philip because someone does something nice to me, I can be a little bit like cool. So I'm like, I gotta show, because you can feel really appreciative and excited, and maybe it's hard to show that. I think you're my inspiration for emotional expression of gratitude.
And it is charismatisk ledarstil.
Yes, that's
It
still
is.
the only Swedish word I know.
I know. But like, I think it's like you get the excitement and say, "Let's run." Why are we running? I don't know. Philip is running, so we should just run with him. Okay, let's run because you don't know what's gonna happen over there. But like, yeah, we're running.
So
Yeah,
what are you
so
doing
smart.
now with this poster? Is that like you working with your dad because he does the printing to do it? What's
No,
going on?
so uh, I figure out that
You know what you're
I want.
doing?
No, yeah, that's one of the companies I'm doing. So the main project is still photo and film for other companies. I do commercials and stuff.
Hmm.
But I really want to grow outside my own, trading time for money, like doing projects. Like I
Right.
really enjoy doing videos and stuff, but at the same time, now when you have a family and everything, I want to grow something that's beyond. Like I want to wake up and see, oh, we're sold like 40 posters, um so, or poster or whatever, but like clothing. But for me, when I want to or when we started the brand Ones Who Do, which is the ones who do stuff, so it's like a action brand for posters. It began with a poster that was inspirational, and that has now evolved to different stuff. I'm gonna contact you
Hmm.
after not after this live session, but I want to do a different post series of different people that inspires the people in the world with their kind of quote. So we released first in the beginning we have highly motivational posters, which can attract some kind of people that's interested in that. But we started to notice that we need to do some change and then make it more personal. So we did something that's called paddle. I don't know if you have that in Germany.
It's
Uh,
a paddle is something to
yeah,
use when you in a boat.
exactly. But here in Swedish, it's like tennis, but you play in with a
Oh,
small. I don't know. I don't have it. Like it's a small racket instead, and you have a glass
okay.
around it, so you can smack it in the glass. It's growing so fast here in Sweden. So we did. We launched that kind of a product, and it went really, really well, and we're still selling a lot. And so we are now like focused on doing collections instead. And I want to do a
Mhm.
one parkour collections. I want to do fitness collections. I want to do different collections.
Mhm, mhm.
And we have connected with the drop shipping method instead of handling everything by ourselves. Then again, it's because if someone orders in the United States, it's printed in the United States and they got the poster. So it's go faster, and we do not, use it's environmental good for the planet, but also it goes so much faster, so we can scale it up in the entire world. So I do not need to pack everything out. Like I just want to build
Right.
a solid team and be working from a computer, whatever, whenever.
Mhm.
And that's because both you and me, we have one kid at the moment. Um, and I don't want to be away too much from the family because it takes time, and yeah, you know the situation how it is.
Mhm.
So that's the reason why we created the poster thing, and I really really enjoyed it. It's a totally new area for me for e-commerce. I've never been working with e-commerce before, so it's a new thinking of search optimization, like the CEO and how everything the transaction goes through in a support system and so on. So I really really enjoy it, but it's something new. I've never been working before.
That's so awesome.
Oh,
It's so cool to see. I sometimes fantasize to just stop everything I'm doing and build a new business. So it's so cool to see you do that. What are the other businesses you're doing? Because you said that's one of the things. Do you still do Airwhip in the academy? Well, you do the filmmaking, of
uh,
course, for clients. Are those
yeah.
three, or
So
is there more?
those two. Like I signed off for Airwhip, so we sold the company and everything and gave it away to charity or non-profitable organization.
Mhm.
So I'm not in Airwhip at all, not in the board, anything.
Mhm.
It's I just take a decision. If I want to move on with life, I've done Airwhip for 10 years. I'm done. I'm not doing any parkour anymore. So I'm moving in that direction instead. And it's
Mhm.
so good for myself just, to set that line and say, thank you for those 10 years. I need to move on in that direction. And so I just skip that one and go on.
Yeah.
And
Thank you for those 10 years as well. You
yeah,
did so much.
yeah, I did, and I really enjoyed every second of it. Like I didn't make you know much money of it, but it was good 10 years of education, having fun in my life, especially now when you have a kid. You just go back in those memories and remember Barcelona when we did all this jumping through everything. I just love those memories, and I'm gonna carry them for my rest of my life. But I'm in a new area of my life now, and I need for me it's just to cut that and move along and see
Mhm.
what I want to do. Um, and so for you, I've seen the kind of the same thing because you were growing your YouTube channel so fast and so big, and you stopped doing it. Like, how was the beginning of building Jason Paul brand, and now you're not ending it because you're still involved in Instagram and you're growing that one. But why did you stop doing YouTube when it was going so well?
Um, it's a little bit of a difficult question to answer. Yeah, I think my problem is that I want to do too many things at once. It's really hard for me to close one chapter and move on to the next one. I just want to do more and more and more and more. And I think that's what I really was trying when I did my YouTube channel. I was trying to do almost a video a day. Like at a time, I was doing like 5 videos a week, and I was trying really hard to make them good videos, to film them really well, and to edit them really well. And I was doing most of it myself. And while I was doing that, I was also still training, trying to be an athlete on a professional level, and running Farang, doing the clothing design. And the idea was that I wanted to kind of do a vlog documenting the behind the scenes of what it takes, because what we kind of realized is when we would go, say we had an idea to shoot this really cool action clip or this really cool photo, and then we would go and shoot that photo, and the photo was awesome. It was like a piece of art that we worked really hard to get. But the fun stories were the stories that were happening behind the scenes, the challenges we had trying to get that photo, to sneak past the security, or to get to a cool location, or to figure out how to shoot it. And those were the stories that we learned from, that we were growing from, that we would talk about later. The piece of art we created was the reason to go on an adventure, but the adventure was really what it was about. And the idea with the vlog, and back then vlogs were kind of really blowing up on YouTube, I was like, oh cool, that's a type of format where I can really tell that story. I can take people along, and I can express myself beyond being an athlete, and I can create content, and I can build a platform where I can do what I want to do while still doing what I already do. So I was trying to layer it on top of what I was already doing, which was already a lot of work. And that kind of put me on a pretty ridiculous schedule where I was, we would wake up, go figure out what we're going to shoot for that day, go do that, still would have to do emails and work and training, and then also like just live life. And then I would come home, and my idea was like I would just film everything, and it hopefully wouldn't take me too much time. But I soon realized if you're vlogging and if you want to shoot everything well, everything you do takes twice as long because you're filming it. So just like, oh, I'm going to film how I'm getting there. So you have to put the camera down, you walk past the camera, then you have to come back, then you have to get the camera, and then you keep going. So everything takes a lot longer if you're filming it. And I definitely underestimated that. And then you come home and you edit, and I was hoping I could make the vlogs a very relaxed edit where I wouldn't make them too fancy, but I was like, I would sit down at whatever, 7, 8 o'clock, and I would start editing, and a video that I could maybe edit in 2 hours, I would get into it and it would take me 3 hours. And then sometimes there would be a problem with the export, and then it would take me till 1 a.m. So there was a lot of nights where I would sleep 5 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours if it was a good night. But the whole thing, you can do it once or twice or even for a week, but then it became really, really stressful. And then keeping up with everything was a lot of work. And I was trying to make it work, but then I would get too exhausted and it wouldn't work out. And then I was just trying to do too many things at once. And I think I kept it up for like 2 or 3 years, somewhat regular, making the YouTube videos. And I was just pushing myself too much. Like it ended up with me getting an inflamed heart muscle and not being able to do any parkour for 6 months because I had to heal from it. So at the end of everything, I was like, look, I learned a lot and I built an amazing audience, but I can't keep on going like this because it's self-destructive. And I have to find something that's more balanced. So I feel very grateful now that I've learned kind of how far I can push myself before everything does fall apart. And I learned a lot that I can still use now. But now I'm trying to find a more balanced path where I don't self-destruct, but I can still be productive and I can still do what I love. And I think I'm still in the process of finding that. Does that answer the question?
Yeah. I was like, I was really, really listening, but because that's why I was so quiet. But that's very
Hmm.
interesting, Jason. Like, if I mean, I'm looking at your YouTube channel now. You have 254,000 subscribers, and you know you were growing, and you have 29 million views, um, and so on.
Yeah, it was working well, which made it like if it was not working, it would have been very easy to stop it. But I'm like, oh, it's working well, and I always felt like maybe I can be a little bit more productive or a little bit more effective, or maybe I can tweak it in a way where I can keep doing it. But and then people were like, maybe you can make a video a week, maybe you can make a video less regularly, but it was kind of an all or nothing thing, especially with the vlog format. It's kind of
it's
like
really
writing a
difficult.
diary,
Yeah,
right? If you write a diary, it's really easy to sit down every day and write a little bit. But if you
yeah,
want to sit down once a week to write in a diary, it doesn't work as well.
no,
It's kind of
no,
all or nothing.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's why like I'm going to YouTube now. Like I'm going like really hard in YouTube, and I have 309 subscribers right now, and I love it. For me, I just love the process where I am and where I want to go. So uh and the balance where you're talking is, I said to myself, because I've been trying to do YouTube a couple of times and I failed, but I said I really want to do it. But the only thing, and if I'm going to do it, it has to be, I have to like have a schedule, but it has to be in the same place always. So that's why I'm
Hmm.
always sitting here, because this is my studio. I do my work.
Hmm.
I do not do vlogs. I do not do anything. I do my YouTubes here because I can film here. I can talk about what I love to talk about. I love to do these interviews, but I do it here. And when I'm done editing everything, you know, I have my other jobs and I want to do and so on. Then I
Hmm.
go back and then I have the family because it needs to be in balance. I tried the vlogging. Vlogging, it what I've been seeing so many YouTuber, it takes over your life. Like you start to think
Yeah.
like, oh shit, the sunrise is going down. I need to film it now. Did you see that? I need to film this because it's, you know, like you're taking your mind to like you can't let it go.
It's definitely consuming because you every day is a new challenge to tell a story.
Yeah.
And you don't know what the story like normally if you shoot a documentary, right? It's kind of like documentary filmmaking. If you do documentary filmmaking, you shoot you have a bit of an idea going in what story you want to tell, but you basically overshoot. You shoot as much as possible because then you have time afterwards to find the story while you're editing.
Mm.
Um, but with vlogging, it's very hard to do that because the more you shoot, the longer your editing is going to become. The
Yeah, I
more
know.
like you have more options, but because you have to edit it that same day, you want to shoot as little as possible. So you're always thinking, should I shoot this? Is this essential? If I shoot this now, is it going to be a pain in the ass in the edit? Should I not shoot it? Should I shoot it? Is this part of the story? So it's really hard to it's really hard to live in the moment and still create that content every day. You do get better at it, but it's a difficult challenge. And then it becomes really difficult if you had a certain story planned, but then something else happens, and then yeah, it's really tricky. And something else I wanted to say, but I forgot. Don't worry about it.
We have a question here. I have a
Mhm.
multi-sports venue and now started a YouTube channel with the coaches. And any advice on finding a balance and how much time I should put into the content? What do you think about that, Jason?
Well, I think I think the goal would be if you have a venue. I think it's nice to define the goal. So it would be all right. You want to get people to come to the venue, I assume. Um, then I think you got to figure out who that would be first. Like, oh, who is it that is you? You probably want to do the local language. You probably want to have people in your area. How much time should I put into the content? I guess the
Much as
best
possible.
yeah, right, that's the easy answer, as much as possible. Um
Always comes back to the balance.
yeah. It's a hard question. It's because it's very specific how much time you should put into it, as much as possible, which means you might have to sacrifice something else for that.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Um
I totally agree.
I think it's also what type of content. I think in the beginning you just want everybody to know about you, right? That's the first type of content. It's yeah, so it's interesting working with Red Bull. They think about their markets kind of like this. If they're new to a market, the first thing they want to do is that to everybody to know about Red Bull. And there it doesn't necessarily matter so much about if they know about the drink. They just want to just want to communicate the brand. So I think that's the first thing you might want to do, is to really do very broad content. So you might want to do a very exciting video showing the gym. You want to show, this is what we have. This is some awesome athletes performing in the gym. This is like an overview of all the skills. So just everybody in the area can know that you exist. And I think once everybody knows that you exist, then you can go a little bit deeper into the content. Then you can show like some more tutorial content. You can show some of the coaches. You can tell us a little bit of the story, and you can build some more personality around the brand. But first, you kind of want to introduce yourself. Like, hey, this is where I am. This is what I do. You want to get the general idea out there that you exist.
Mhm.
And yeah, I don't think that
So
really answers the question, but
yeah, no,
that's how
no,
I would
it
think
does.
about
It
it.
does. I mean, that's a great answer, and that comes down to the next one line. And have you learned a lot about branding and marketing by being a rebel athlete?
For sure. Yeah, for sure. I think um I always love, like, I'm really excited whenever I would go to a shoot or a production or a business meeting or just hang out with someone like you. I just always love asking questions and figuring out how people do things and how they approach things. And working with Red Bull, obviously, they're marketing geniuses. They're one of the best brands when it comes to marketing and tasteful marketing and how to tell stories, and especially around athletes. So I early realized that that is really valuable knowledge for me to learn as an athlete, because if I understand how they would market me and tell my story, then I can tell my story in a similar way. So I would always pay very close attention to how they go about telling stories and how they go about communicating. And I definitely learned a lot. Yeah. Yeah. We could talk
Yeah.
about more
I
details,
love
of course,
your
but
German. Yes. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. How was it for
Yeah,
you marketing the Air Whip gym? Like, how was that? How did you get the word out there? Because you actually have real life experience promoting a multi sports venue.
word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Again, excitement.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like, kids are the best networkers in the entire universe. If a kid, like, you take Frida, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and I watch Frida's story. She loves painting, for example, and when she grows up a little bit more, she like, if you tell Frida and you say, oh, we're gonna go to this massive house that you can paint on all the walls and on the floors, walls
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. You can just paint, 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 paint. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a person, when you meet that person and Frida says hello, and they're like, welcome, you can paint everywhere. She gets really excited about it. And when she gets friends, she's going to tell that to her friend and say, I went to this house, you can paint on all the walls up there and everywhere. And they
Mm-hmm.
get really excited. So that's what I did about, or me and Marcus, Marcus was really good there as well. Telling that you should talk to all your friends. What do you think about the Arab? I
Uh-huh.
would love Arab. Oh, you should tell your friends that you really love Arab. Yeah, I should. Like, you can manipulate them. Like you tell them, you tell them. And like, yeah, yeah. And every time we make a joke, like, yeah, well, tell your parents to sell the TV or the car so they can afford to be at the air whip. So like, we
Mhm.
just keep continuously making them motivated to get there, and 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 8, 16, and so on. And
Hmm.
so it went from 10 people to 200 in I think like a year. It went so fast. I remember the first day when we started Airwhip Academy. I said, again, Philip, excitement. I said, we are gonna do rent idrottshallen. It's same size as the arena, the biggest arena, and we're gonna fill the entire arena. But there's come so many people, and there went 11 people. So I had to pay 6,000 Swedish grand for renting the entire place for 11 people to train. But those
Wow, nice.
11 was the start of their Whip Academy, and they told their
Hmm.
friends and so on. And then I went to Helsingborg start, and I told them that we need an airwhip gym. And they say, why? And I said, because I have 300 people now waiting in line. So give me 300,000 euros. And they said yes. So that's where they start with the Airwhip Academy, and they grew from there, and now it's still going good. I mean, 10 years later, they still have 300 people training every week at the Airwhip Academy, which is super fun. We've been
Hmm.
training over 3,500 kids at that
Hmm.
place.
Wow,
Um,
that's so cool.
so
And you can see how much the Swedish community has turned out some incredible athletes now. Like Kevin Frunsen, for example, he was one
yeah,
of the early Airwhip kids,
yeah,
and a
no,
lot of amazing athletes have come from that.
yeah, and I'm super happy
Joel
for.
Larsson too.
No, no, not Joe Lawson. He's up in Stockholm. But what
Hmm.
I love about Airwhip, or Kevin was in Airwhip, and I told him now they go and keep up because they have their own brand, skater style, and everything. I said, screw Airwhip, quit Airwhip, don't do Airwhip, do Keepa. Always do
Hmm.
your thing. You can't be half pregnant. You can, like, either you
Hmm.
are or you're not. So keep your mind in the right place. So do Keepa full time, and you guys gonna like explode, which it has, and it's going really good for him. And I'm super
So
happy.
for the gym owner who asked, sorry, I forgot his name. Would you tell him like content is not that important for a gym, for a local business?
No, no, no. I said definitely at that time we didn't have that kind of Instagram or social media as we have
Hmm.
today. Um, um, then again, word of mouth is really strong, and like people are so focused. And like when we started, Jason, it was I remember we did this 1 hour long video, or 30 minutes or 20 minutes, and it compiles down to 3 minutes or 2 minutes today. And for example, this 1 hour video we're doing now, it's a really good live session. It's going to be on YouTube, but we're also going to chop this video into 3 sections and put it
Hmm.
on YouTube as well, with the best 2 minutes of this live session with you and me.
Hmm.
And so what people forget is that even if you're filming, you can spread this in different social media platforms. You make a 2 minute long video, cool. You can put 30 seconds
Hmm.
on Facebook, 1 minute on Instagram Reels, or you can put it on LinkedIn, and you can take off the video and just make it the sound clip and put it as a
Hmm.
podcast. Like, you can do so much with just a 2 minute video clip. So I would definitely recommend to go full, like, learn simple basic stuff for film and editing on your phone, filming and sound, and just
Yeah.
put it out, put it
Yeah,
out,
there's
put it
that's the cool thing is there's a lot you can do on your phone nowadays. You don't have to spend tons of time for it to be this perfectly edited video. Like you can put out a video from your gym every day and just shoot it on your phone. I
yeah,
also think what I think is really interesting is if you look some of these new museums that have come up, like in California, you have the Museum of Ice Cream, for example, and they basically set up these whole areas in the museum that are like photo sets. They're like selfie opportunities
yeah,
for people.
yeah,
And all these people are taking cool photos in these museums and posting it and tagging the museum, and more people because of that are visiting these museums. So I always thought if I would ever open a parkour gym, I would make sure there's like, for one, it would look really good on Instagram. So I'd make it sure that the lighting was good, the backgrounds were like clear and simple. So if you would post a clip, it could perform well on social media. And I would make it easy for people to film. You would probably have some obvious branding in the back where you see the tag or the name of the gym or the logo. And I think you would make it easy for people to film. Like you could have someone there who would say like, oh, you need someone to film your trick? Just let me know. I'll film it for you. We'll airdrop you the clip or we'll send you the clip.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I
That's a
think
really good
that
point.
would be really important because you can
I
have the kids who would tell their friends,
yeah.
but now those kids all have cell phones. So you could be like, hey, I'll film you doing your trick and you can show your friends. And then your
Yeah.
friends will want to come too to try it out.
Yeah.
So that's what
Yeah.
I think I would do.
I told the other gym owner that I go to my personal trainer every week. I told him to have an old computer, doesn't matter what, or a phone, whatever,
Mhm.
and put a camera, put a TV, just like just buy a simple TV and put a camera on it, and send it live 24/7 in a corner,
Mhm.
so you can tell friends like, okay, I'm gonna do this workout now. I need some help and some motivation. So you can do, workout, and they have the live streaming going always live,
Mhm.
and you can see people logging in and say, yeah, go, and push hearts and everything, and you just standing
Uh,
there and pushing up, and they have the brand always visible in the
uh,
back. And
has he done it?
no, so Andrew steal that and go full on it.
Yes.
We got another question here. It's fun. People are asking questions. Which books have helped you the most in life, Jason?
Oliver Norton. I miss you, Oliver Norton. I haven't seen you in so long. Which books have helped me most in life? Oh, it's so hard. I've read so many books. I think in general, if you're reading, that's already amazing.
Good
And
job.
like, good job. It's unbelievable. I was listening to a podcast today where they were talking about how powerful it is to read and how much you can learn from books. Maybe you want to start, Philip. Maybe I need to think first.
I've read
Ah,
I've read 3 books in my entire life, so I'm not
really?
the right person. Podcast is my thing. Podcast and video. I have so hard to read. Like it, I can't. It takes too much time. I read a
Mhm.
couple lines and my brain is just zooming out. I consume so much better on audio podcast. I just stop the audio, write down stuff. Books are not my thing. I tried it. I
Mhm.
I I, I wrote. um, I was reading Think and Grow Rich, was really good. The Powerful of Seven Habits is one of my favorite books. What else? Well, I think those two.
I really like Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life. I think he's awesome. I think that's
Which
a
one?
really good 12 Rules for Life.
Yeah.
And he has a new book called coming out now. It's I think 12 More Rules Beyond Order, which I ordered. I'm excited for that. I love his lectures and the information he puts out there. I find really useful and really good principles. Also for raising Frida now, it's been really helpful. I like Robert Greene's book about history. He has the 42 Laws of Power. It's a very dark book in a way where it takes all these history examples and it will kind of extract principles from that you can apply to your own life. Um, I recommend not to take it too serious. Like I think you got to balance it out with a book that has a bit more of a positive outlook on life. And I think Never Eat Alone is a good one for that.
Mhm.
Um, I also really like Dale Carnegie's book called How to Make Friends and Influence People.
Oh yeah, that's really one. That's really good.
Yeah, I love that book, and I think it's a really powerful book. It has a really cheesy title, but I learned so much from that book. Um, then there's the book called Bird by Bird, which is a book on how to write effectively and communicate effectively, which is I think I really enjoyed too. And there's
There's a lot.
The Writer's Journey, which is a book on storytelling, which I also really loved, which kind of breaks down the structures that we have. Like you watch, say you watch a Marvel movie or something, like a lot of the movies, they have these very generic story structures where really
Mhm.
you feel like it's always the same thing that happens, right? You have this hero and he has this mentor who teaches him, and then he has he fights this enemy that you think he can't win, and then there's this moment where the hero almost dies and you think he dies, he falls into the flames, but then he comes out and then he's more powerful than before, and then he manages to defeat the enemy. You have these stories that always happen again and again and again, and this book kind of explains the roles in them, and so definitely made me get better at understanding stories and why we
They're
like these stories,
powerful.
but also at telling stories as well.
Telling stories. It's always about telling
Yeah.
stories, which even doesn't matter what kind of brand. And so, like, we're coming to the end of this live stream. I want to
Oh
ask
no.
you. I know. That's why I told it, like Giles told, like we can have a conversation for 3 hours, and that's what I love about it because it's so relaxed. But Jason, you have been, for me, really role model when it's coming to building a brand, an authentic brand of the name of Jason Paul, and then you have Farang, and where you still are, very down to earth. You're still the same Jason Paul. Well, like, has it been a strategy for you from the beginning with example of Instagram? Like, do you have, like, okay, I want to build the Jason Paul brand for Farang, or is it like I need extra money or I get ads and so on? Like, how did you build the Jason Paul brand?
First of all, thank you so much. That's such a nice compliment. That means a lot for me to hear that. Um, I'm not really. I don't really know. How, like, there's times where I try to think about, like, what is my brand, what is it about, because you read all about, like, you should know what makes you stand out, what is your brand about, what should it be, and for me it's really, really hard for me to pin that down. Like, it's almost like describe who you are in like a sentence. It's like I can't fit everything that I am and that I do into like a clean brand. Like, for me, that's always been so difficult to really define like what I am and what I want to do, and it's been really, I've never been able to do it. I think um maybe that's what makes it authentic, is because I'm not really, I allow myself to change and follow what's exciting to me. I think that's the kind of the guiding principle to me, is that um I'm always trying to follow what's attracting me, even if it doesn't make sense. And that's kind of what's guided my path. Is like when I was a teenager, I was excited about parkour. It didn't make any sense for me to put all my time into parkour. It seemed like the most stupid career decision. It seemed way less important than school or way less important than learning other things. But that's what I was excited about. So I followed that with all my heart. And that brought so much positivity into my life. It improved my relationships. It made me more disciplined. It made me grow as a person. It made me meet all these people like you who still are a huge part of my life and helped me grow. It's been overwhelmingly positive. And I think a lot of people, they are attracted to something, and the problem is you can't choose what you're attracted to, right? I could say I wish I was attracted to law or to something that was obviously more financially beneficial, or that was a more clear path. Like if you are excited about, I don't know, the stars, you become an astrologist, I guess. Like it's some like you can't decide. Like maybe you are excited about something that is not going to make any money. And maybe you're excited about something where you can make a lot of money. Maybe you're excited about, like I meet these people, they're so excited about real estate, or they're really excited about investing in stocks. And I'm like, that's so sick. You found something that you're excited about that can also make you a lot of money. So in a way you have two problems fixed at the same time. Whereas I was excited about something that nobody was making any money doing parkour. So I was like, fuck, how am I going to make this work? But even if it made no sense, I was like, all right, I'm excited about it. Let's keep doing it. And that's what I've kept doing. I've just followed what I'm excited about. And that for me was making videos and making content. And then for a while it was making YouTube. And then YouTube was going really well. But then I was like, I'm not excited about it anymore. Even if it is being successful, I can't keep doing it just because it's successful. If it's not exciting to me, then I got to stop. So yeah, that's what I'm kind of just doing. I'm following what's exciting to me, and I'm trying to, as you do so well, share that excitement, because I found that if you're really excited about something, then it almost doesn't matter if other people care about it. If you can communicate that excitement, they'll enjoy being around that energy. How I can, like, I can listen to almost any podcast to anybody talking about whatever topic. Like I can listen to a podcast about climate change, then I can listen to a podcast about real estate, and then about bodybuilding, and then about some culture in a distant country or history. But if the person's talking about it is coming from their like deep excitement, then like there's another book, The Magic of Tidying Up or something, by Marie Kondo, which she, from a little age, was excited about tidying up her room. Like she talks about how all the kids, when there was a school break, all the kids would go out and play and go crazy. And she would stay in the classroom and she would reorganize the classroom. And cleaning up your room is like the most boring thing ever to me. I always hated cleaning up my room, but because she shared her genuine excitement, it was so fascinating to me. And it's managed to bring some of that excitement to something that was boring to me before. And I think that's what's been my guide, is just that, following that feeling. Even if I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing most of the time, I'm just keep going. And so far it's worked out.
It has. I mean, and again, I think because I just had a live session with another company talking about exactly the same thing. Because if I look at you're a Red Bull athlete, you have Team FARANG, you have GoPro, and is Sebman Official. What is that?
Yeah, they're a company that does hair products.
Hair products.
Gel. I didn't use any
then,
yet, as you can see, but usually my hair would look extremely beautiful.
And then you have Our House. What is that?
Yes. Our House, something really cool. It's the German Sports Foundation has existed for a very long time, and they were started because they realized sports are really important in society because they give people an ideal to strive for, right? I remember myself, I was looking at athletes, and they would not just inspire me to become a better athlete and to become fit, but also their discipline and their sportsmanship was inspiring. So, but at the same time, you have these athletes that are really inspiring, but it's really, really difficult to make a living as an athlete. And that's how the German Sports Foundation was started. They started supporting Olympic athletes by giving them, like, started out, I think, with some salary, but now they're also giving these athletes some like insurance support. They're helping them find a job after their athletic career. So they basically built this network to support athletes. And up until recently, that was only focused on Olympic athletes. And now last year, they started doing the same for alternative sports that are not Olympic or that are maybe not competitive at all. Because there's a lot of sports nowadays where you have these amazing athletes that are role models to people, but they're not on TV, they're not doing contests, they're just sharing, like we do, their passion through videos and through content. And they said that's just as valuable. We want to support those athletes as well. So last year they started supporting with the same support that they give the Olympic athletes: BMX, wakeboarding, and parkour. 4 athletes in each discipline. So that's really,
Sweet.
really awesome.
And I mean, um, just to go back to what you said, like you have been following. That's why I'm watching your Instagram now, and you have been following your heart and what you are excited about, and I mean, it's turned up kind of well for you. And I think even because you didn't like we didn't earn so much money in the beginning, and now it's going. You know, you can have a living, you have a family, you need money, you're taking care of them, and so on. Um, but comes down to happiness is everything. I mean, whatever you do today, even though we're talking about brand here, but whatever you do, please do the things that makes you happy, because there's no point of living if you do not do the things that makes you happy. We have,
Mhm.
but I'm so I'm just looking at people sometimes, and they think they're living a life that they're gonna live forever. And I'm sorry to say, especially when you get a kid, like we do not going to live forever, and we're going so fast right now. And for me, that's why I want to have sustainability in my company and how I work. Because when I work, I work. When I'm home, I'm like
Mhm.
I'm really there with Milo. I'm using my time with Milo in the right way. So because I'm never gonna get that time back. You're never gonna know when he's stopped doing the dishwasher thing that he's done every single morning for
Mhm.
4 months now, running every time to clean up the dishwasher, or giving the last hug, or so every moment counts. That's why it's so important for me to be happy what you're actually doing from the beginning to the end.
Yeah, there's one movie that really helped me with that. It's a movie called About Time, and it's a time travel movie, but it's not like a sci-fi time travel movie. It's about this dude who he learns how to travel back in time, and he can change things to change the future. And of course, he does. It helps him like get a girlfriend and things. Um, but what happens in the movie is his father dies, so he can go back in time to hang out with his dad. His dad was also a time traveler in the story. It's all the males in the family can time travel, so he can travel back in time to meet his dad, and he would hang out with his dad, and um, that was really cool. His dad's dead, but he can still spend time with him. But what happens is then he has a child, and the thing is, his dad tells him, look, if you have a kid and you travel back in time before your child was born, your child will change. You won't have the same kid, because the tiniest change you make, the same sperm will not arrive, and you will have a completely different
Yeah.
child. So it gets to the point where his child is born, and then he can't travel back in time anymore to see his dad. And what he does in that movie afterwards is he loses his dad, and he's very sad. And what he does as a time traveler, he lives every day once, and then he travels back to the beginning of the day, and he lives the day a second time. But that time, he says he really gets to appreciate every moment, because the hard things he's done once, and he can do them a second time, and now he can kind of have a second look at that day. And in the movie, after a while of doing it, he doesn't need to go back in time anymore to do that. He's done it, so he can now actually live by enjoying it. It's really hard to explain, but I really recommend you check out the movie. It's such
What
a,
was it
it
called
makes me
again?
cry every time. It's called About Time.
About
It's
time.
a very lovely movie. You can watch with you can watch it with your wife, and it's like, if you're okay to cry in front of your wife, because you'll definitely cry.
Cry all the time. You know me. I've been crying.
Yeah,
I'm the most sensitive guy on this
yeah.
planet.
And you have a good relationship with your dad too, and your dad's still alive, so that's one thing I'm very scared about, is my parents passing away.
Yeah.
That's something I'm
No.
very appreciative now and
Yeah,
enjoying.
of course. Yeah, you're living in the same house, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're in the apartment over. Yeah. So like you're
Hmm.
yeah, I mean the same with my grandfather. He's 94 years old, soon 95. and he was at our place celebrating my son's birthday because he had got the vaccine.
Mhm.
And he was so excited about seeing Milo. He hasn't seen him in 1 year, so it was really
Wow.
cool.
Mhm.
And you appreciate really those times with your family. So you really need to spend good quality time. That's the most important. When you spend time, spend quality time.
Yeah, be present. Like that's
Yeah,
just
be present.
really. Mhm. Yeah.
Really, really.
Yeah.
Jason, I know we can talk forever. I have a meeting in 15 minutes. Thank you so much for this live session and everything, all the books and the brand building and everything you as a person. I will leave links in below for all the people who wants to know more about Jason and Team Farang and everything. Is there any last words you want to say to the audience?
I think first of all, thanks so much for having me. So lovely to have this excuse to catch up with you. It's been way too long.
I know.
And yeah, just have a good day.
Super. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. I will talk to you guys soon. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.